My husband, Mark, told me he wanted a divorce on our 10th anniversary while we were sitting in the restaurant where he first proposed. He didn't say he stopped loving me. He said he had found his soulmate, and it happened to be my younger sister, Elena. Elena was sitting at the next table, already wearing the earrings I thought I'd lost 3 months ago. They expected me to scream, to throw wine, or to beg. Instead, I simply handed Mark a pre-signed set of divorce papers and a folder labeled The Dream Life. I told them, I've known for a year, and honestly, you two deserve each other so much that I decided to help you get a head start. Mark was a high-stakes architect who obsessed over his legacy, and Elena was a failed influencer who obsessed over other people's money. In the folder was a deed to a stunning, minimalist villa in the hills of Tuscany, a property Mark had coveted for a decade. I told them I'd bought it with my inheritance and that it was my parting gift to the happy couple so they could start their life away from the bitterness of our hometown. Elena's eyes turned into dollar signs, and Mark looked at me with a mix of guilt and absolute triumph. They moved out within 48 hours, leaving behind the keys to our suburban home and taking only their designer luggage. What I didn't tell Mark was that the villa wasn't bought with an inheritance. It was leased under his name using a power of attorney he'd signed years ago when he had a health scare. The Dream Life folder contained a series of contracts for luxury services, private chefs, groundskeepers, and security, all with ironclad, non-refundable clauses. I had spent the last year liquidating our joint accounts, which he never checked, to pay the massive deposits for these services. But here's the thing, the villa didn't actually have road access during the winter months. Once the first snow hit the Italian hills, they were trapped in a glass box with no Wi-Fi, no neighbors, and a staff that spoke zero English but were paid to never let them leave the property for their own safety. While they were sipping expensive wine in a beautiful prison, I was back home meeting with Mark's biggest rival. You see, Mark's architectural firm wasn't built on his genius, it was built on my blueprints. I had been ghostwriting his designs since we were in college. Every award on his shelf had my hidden signature in the CAD files. The day after they left, I leaked the original timestamped files to the architectural board, along with a concerned note about his mental stability. By the time Mark tried to call his office from a satellite phone in Tuscany, he found out he'd been scrubbed from the company website and his professional license was under review for fraud. Elena, meanwhile, was finding out that being a soulmate is hard work when there's no audience. She had been leaking photos of their affair to the press for months to build her brand as a homewrecker-turned-queen. But I had redirected her IP address to a mirror site. She thought she was gaining millions of followers. In reality, she was posting to a private server where the only subscriber was me. She spent hours every day posing by the infinity pool, writing captions about how love always wins, while the world outside had completely forgotten she existed. When the money in the Dream Life account finally ran out 6 months later, the staff simply walked away, taking the satellite phone and the keys to the pantry with them. Mark and Elena finally hiked 10 miles down a mountain to the nearest village, looking like castaways. They begged to use a phone to call their lawyers. Mark found out he was bankrupt. Elena found out she was a social pariah. But the real twist? Mark's soulmate connection wasn't an accident. I was the one who introduced them. I was the one who told Elena that Mark was planning to leave me for a younger model and that she needed to move fast if she wanted the villa. I was also the one who told Mark that Elena was pregnant with his heir to seal the deal. Elena wasn't pregnant, of course. She'd been lying to him to keep the dream alive, just as he'd been lying to me for years. Now, they're stuck in a tiny apartment in a city where no one will hire them, still in love because they have literally no one else left to talk to. As for me, I'm currently sitting in that restaurant where he proposed, eating the most expensive dessert on the menu. I'm not alone, though. I'm with the private investigator who helped me set the whole thing up. We're celebrating our first anniversary.